Hello, teachers and participants. Good afternoon. Welcome to our first ever webinar presented to you by Next Series. So we are a group of EdTech coaches and Google certified educators and also Apple educators who are actually willing or very much willing to render our services for free to help our fellow educators in these difficult times. We understand. Hello, teachers and participants. Good afternoon. Welcome to our first ever webinar presented to you by Next Series. So we are, sorry for that. Okay. Once again, we are a group of EdTech coaches and teachers who are very much willing to help our fellow educators in terms of assisting you with your technological needs, with the updated tools and techs that we could use to address our lessons to our students. So we will be having two of our sessions for today. Okay, first one is activating online distance learning through Google Classroom. That will be presented to you by Mr. Franco Addun, and then followed by Ms. Emie Himor, she'll be discussing about the Google tools for measuring students' progress and organizing data. So without further ado, let's start with our first session. So Mr. Franco Addun is actively involved in Xavier School as a social science high school teacher. He's also a lecturer at Ateneo de Manila University. So he's here with us to help us to go through distance learning with the help of one of the Google tools, which is our Google Classroom. Take it away, Mr. Franco.
Okay, welcome at magandang hapon sa ating lahat, sa mga participants and guests. Maraming salamat for being with us at joining us in this first ever Next Series webinar on online distance learning using Google Tools. Okay, so para sa part ng webinar series na ito, ang unang-una natin titingnan ay ang Google Classroom bilang isang learning management system. Okay, alam ko at I think we're very familiar already that there are also other learning management systems like Schoology, Canva, CISO, among others. And I think bawat learning management system naman ay may kanya-kanyang mga strengths and weaknesses. But I think in terms of strength, ang pinaka strength ng Google Classroom ay it's more accessible than other platforms, okay? Because it's free, and as long as you have a Gmail account, okay, you can actually create a class inside your Google Classroom and use it as a learning management system. Okay, so that's why we're going to look at Google Classroom as a learning management system para sa webinar series na ito. Okay, so to begin with, to explore Google Classroom, ay kailangan nating i-access ang Google Classroom. And meron kang two ways to do that. Para ma-access ang iyong Google Classroom, okay, you can directly go to classroom.google.com. It's going to bring you to your Google Classroom. Okay, if you have not signed in yet, okay, Google Classroom will ask you to sign in. Okay, and you will see here your Google Classroom. Okay. Now, the second access point is via your Gmail. Okay, so if you go to your Gmail, you can actually access your Google Classroom inside your Gmail. Okay, so when you open your Gmail, the upper right corner, okay, you can see here, okay, this button, Google Apps. Okay, so basically that contains all your Google Apps linked into your Gmail. Okay, so if you click on that, okay, it's actually going to show you all the Google Apps that you can use using your Gmail account. Okay, and one of them would be Google Classroom. Okay, so when you click on that icon, it's going to bring you to the same web page we've been earlier, okay, when we go to classroom.google.com. Okay, now when you open for the first time your Google Classroom, wala kang makikitang ganito. Okay, so walang demo class, walang class sample. It's a blank slate na kung saan ka maglalagay ng mga classes mo. Okay, now to start creating your classes, okay, the first thing you have to do is to click on this plus sign at the upper right corner. Okay, so If you click on that, okay, it's going to ask you if you're going to join a class or create a class. Of course, para sa mga estudyante natin, they will have the same view, by the way. If they open their Google Classroom, they will also see something like this. Okay, so all the classes they're enrolled into or joined, and they will also have an option to join a class or create a class. Okay, now if you um, are a teacher, of course, okay, will be creating a class. So just click on create a class, okay. And if you are using a personal account, okay, the first thing that will pop up after you click on that button is this message from Google asking you to sign up for a free G Suite for Education. Okay, I'm encouraging everyone, if you have time to set up a G Suite for Education account for your school, for your teachers, please do so. Okay, because that will give you so much more, okay, access to Google for education tools. Okay, but if not, okay, and you want to continue with your personal account, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, you can simply tick the box, okay, and click continue. Okay, and then now you can start creating your class. Okay, so ang una-una mong kailangan gawin ay bigyan ng class name, okay, ang iyong class. Okay, ako personally, kapag naglalagay ako ng class name, lagi ko nilalagay ng section. So I recommend na lagyan nyo ng section. Why? Because when it appears sa Google Classroom mo, mas madali mo makita kung anong klase or para sa ang section ang klase na yon. Okay, so also, nilalagay ko rin ang subject. Ito ay hindi para sa akin, dahil alam ko namang yun ang subject ko. Ito ay para sa aking mga estudyante. Para when they see their classes, okay, because they will be joining multiple classes from different subjects, okay, it would be easier for them to identify which class is for which subject. Okay? Pwede ka rin maglagay ng sections. So, for example, again, 10B. At ang subject natin for that. Okay. Once you're done, okay, you can simply click create. Now, when you click create, Google will create your class inside your Google Classroom. Okay, now we have our first, if you see your first, okay, but it's not my first, okay, your first Google class in your Google Classroom, okay? Now, the first thing you would see is this vibrant theme or picture, image, okay? That's preloaded, okay, by Google for you. Okay, you can change that if you want, okay, to customize that according to your subject. Okay, so you can click on this, select a theme, okay, and you can choose among the many preloaded themes from Google. Okay, so by subject, okay, you have for math and science, okay, meron ka rin for arts, okay, sports, at kung special interest din, meron din mga themes na ginawa si Google for that, okay? Kung decided ka for a particular theme, pwede mo na i-select yan. For example, i-select natin dahil ako ay galing sa history, mag-select tayo ng something, okay, pwedeng ito. Okay, at ilo-load yan sa'yo ni Google, okay? Sa yung Google Class. Now, there's also an option to upload a photo. Okay. When you click on that, okay, it will ask you to upload a photo from your computer. So, for example, let's upload a photo from my computer. Please take note that when you're uploading a particular photo or image, okay, it must be within 2000 by 1000 resolution to 2000 by 500 resolution, okay, or else Google will not accept that as your class theme, okay. So when you're done resizing or cropping um, your image, okay, you can click on select theme, okay, okay, and it will change it into your customized uploaded image, okay. Now when you're done with that, okay, you can explore the other features of Google Classroom, but the first thing we have to do is to look at the settings first, okay, so that we know how to set the functions, okay, or things inside our classroom. Okay, so when you want to change details, okay, of your class, you can go here, okay, you can change that, okay. You can add description, okay, of your class, okay. The section is still there, okay. You can update the subject, okay. There's also this other options, okay, to customize the functionalities inside your Google Classroom or Google Class. Okay, the first one is that of course you have your class code. Okay, so earlier I was telling you na kapag mag-join ng students mo sa iyong Google Classroom, they will have to have a class code, and it's you'll be the one to generate that for them. Okay, so automatically when you open a class, mag-generate si Google ng class code para sa class mo. Okay? At i-share mo yan sa mga estudyante mo. Okay? So, meron ka ibang several options regarding your class code. Okay? Pwede mo yung display. Okay? So, magpa-pop up yan into a larger font. Okay? Para makita ng mga estudyante mo. If you are using a projector, or in this case, if you're sharing it via your screen sharing, okay? Pwede mo rin yung i-copy para pwede mo yung ipadala sa mga estudyante mo in different platforms like Messenger, Viber, emails, etc. Pwede mo rin yung i-reset, okay, kung gusto mong baguhin. Kung sa tingin mo, for example, nag-leak or na-compromise ang iyong class code, pwede mo yung i-reset para maprotektahan ng iyong class. Or totally disable it para walang maka-access ng class mo gamit ang class code mo. Okay? So, it's up to you kung ano man ang gusto mong gawin sa class code mo. Okay? Sa stream naman, okay, sa napag-usapan mamaya, okay, pwede mo ring i-control, okay, or i-manage ang permissions ng mga estudyante mo. Okay, so you can choose among students can post and comment. Okay, students can only comment and only teachers can post or comment. Okay, actually, for me personally, I always choose that one in between. Students can only comment. I do not give them permission to post. Why? Because if you give them permission to post, you can just imagine 36 students posting things on your Google Classroom, and it will mix up with your important announcements. Okay, so I only allow them to make a comment. I do not restrict naman posting or making comments only to myself because that would be not productive. Okay, because for example, if they have a question about your post, they also need to make a comment or react to that. Okay, if they have questions about it. Okay, you can also modify the classwork on the stream if you want, because all your classwork, all your posts that you're going to create will be shown into your stream. So you can choose if your posts will show attachments, okay, or it will be a condensed notifications, or totally all your classwork will not appear in your stream. But of course, I do not want that. I want to see notifications, and um, for me personally, I also want to show attachments and details so that right there and then, when they see the post in the stream, they will already know the details and all the attachments within it. Okay. Okay. The grading, we'll explore that later on as part of one of the main functions of Google Classroom. Okay. So when you're done changing your settings, okay, personalizing it, customizing it, just click on save, okay, and your settings is saved, okay. Now, on the left side panel, okay, um, there's a drop menu here, okay, and you click on that, okay, it shows you um, your okay, if you want to go to back to the home page where we started creating our class, you can click on this one. You also have a link calendar. So when you create a um, Google Classroom also generates a Google Calendar for that, which is integrated into your personal calendars. Okay, so you'll be able to see the activities, deadlines, etc. Of your class within your personal calendar as well. Okay. You also have your to-do list. Okay, that's basically is a summary of all the things that's needed to be done or are scheduled. Okay, in your classes. Okay, you have your all your classes. Okay, so it makes you able to navigate through your classes. Okay, um, without problems. Okay, so if you want to transfer to your other sections or other classes, you can easily do that. Okay, without a hitch. Okay, so let's go back to our class. Okay. Okay, now, in your stream, okay, you'll see here, okay, the name of your class, okay? So 10B Social Science, that's why I encourage you to name it after your section and your subject. So it's easily identifiable by your students, okay? Nakalagay din dito yung section and naka-display din dito yung class code. Kanina sa settings natin, pinili natin yung display class code. Kaya that's why naka-display, okay? Anytime. Okay? Now, pwede ka na diretso, okay? Pwede ka na kagad mag-post sa stream mo, okay? Like when you're posting, for example, in Facebook. Okay, so basically, it works the same way, okay? So, for example, gawa tayo ng welcome to our class, okay? Okay. Now, whenever you are creating a post, okay, or posting something in Google Classroom, you will always have this set of same options, okay? So the first one is this button, okay? This button allows you, okay, to post or select, okay, classes where that post will be sent. Okay, so it makes it so much easier if the post is common for all your classes. You don't need to repeat that post over and over again. Okay, so you've created your first post inside your Google Classroom. Okay, puntahan naman natin ngayon ang isa sa pinakamahalagang feature ng Google Classroom, which is ang ating classwork. Okay, so kapag clinic natin yan, ay dadalhin tayo sa ating page kung saan maaari tayong gumawa or mag-create ng mga activities or assignments para sa ating mga estudyante. Okay? So, para magsimula, i-click lamang ang create button. Okay? At kapag click mo yan, meron kang several options kung anong klase ng activity ang gagawin mo. Kung ito ba ay assignment, okay? Quiz assignment, okay? Question, material. Maaari ka rin mag-reuse ng post kung nakapag-post ka na. Or topic, okay? At nalalaman natin kung para sa yung topic na yun mamaya. Okay? Ngayon, dahil gusto natin na nakakontextualize tayo sa ating kalagayan ngayon at kung paano gamitin ang Google Classroom sa ating konteksto, na lalo na ngayon, magiging modular ang ating yung nalalamanin ng module na ito. Okay? Isama natin ang week kung kailan i-implement ang module na ito. Okay? So, i-add lamang yan. Okay? At na-create na ang iyong first module. Okay, so of course, wala pa yung laman at yan ang gagawin natin. Okay, so habang ina-explore natin ang iba't ibang klase ng classwork, ay maggagawa rin tayo ng module bilang simulation ng module making. Okay, so una natin gawin ay gumawa tayo ng material or mag-send tayo ng material sa ating mga estudyante. Okay, so bigyan niya ng title. Okay, babasahin at sanggunian. Okay, tungkol sa nasyon. Ang haba ng title natin. Okay? At dahil yan ay materials, mag-a-add tayo ng materials. Okay? So, para makapag-add ka ng materials, okay, i-click lamang ang add button na ito. Okay? At meron kang 4 options, okay? Kung paano or saan mo kukunin ang materials mo. Maaring ito ay galing sa Google Drive. Maaring ito ay galing sa Google Link. Website link. File mula sa iyong computer or video mula sa YouTube. Okay, so simulan natin. For example, mag-attach tayo ng file mula sa aking Google Drive. Okay, so hanapin natin. Meron na akong preloaded documents. Okay, kung ito ay reading material, maganda na nasa PDF para hindi nababago ng mga estudyante natin. Okay? Mag-add pa tayo ng isa pang material, for example, from YouTube. Okay? Dahil ito ay properly integrated na or seamlessly integrated into your Google Classroom, you can access Google right inside your Google Classroom. So it's also a good thing because the students cannot like go to another window and visit YouTube. Okay? And it becomes a distraction. Okay? So i-type lamang ang video na gusto mong hanapin. Okay? So for example, what is a nation? At YouTube will give you suggestions. Okay? So for example, piliin natin ang video na ito. Okay? And then click add. Okay? So it's now added into your draft. Okay? Maaari ka rin mag-create ng mga document gamit ang mga Google for Education tools like Docs, Slides, Sheets, Drawings, and Forms. Pero hindi natin pag-uusapan ngayon yan. Kung gusto mong patuloy na matuto or matuklasan kung paano gamitin ang mga tools na ito, subaybayan ng webinar series na ito. Okay? Mamaya pag-uusapan ng aking co-presenter ang Google Sheets at Google Form. Okay? Okay, kung tapos tayo mag-attach, okay, maaari mo nang i-assign yan sa kung anong klase or saang klase mo yan gustong i-assign. Or kung gusto mong i-assign yan sa specific students, okay. But of course, wala tayong estudyante sa class na to, so naka-default by default, okay, all students yan, okay. And katulad sabi ko, dahil ito ay ginagawa natin sa loob ng isang module, ipasok natin yan sa ginawa nating module or topic. Module 1, week 1, okay. Now, pagkatapos niyan, okay, katulad ng sabi natin kanina, meron kang option, okay, kung ito ay you want to post it now, okay, or you want to schedule it, okay, save draft or discard draft if you want, okay. But for the sake of this simulation of module making, we'll be scheduling that material, okay. So let's click on schedule, okay. Basically, what it does is it schedules your posting. So it will not immediately be posted. Okay, so for example, dahil ang ating week 1, for example, ay may implement from June 15 to June 19, ang our first post will be posted on June 15. Okay? Maaari mo ring specify ang time, okay? Na gusto mong lumabas ang post na ito. So for example dito, ipopost natin ito ng 8 a.m. Okay, so automatically, without you even doing anything, okay, isi-send yan ni Google Classroom sa inyong mga estudyante. Okay, so i-click lamang ang schedule kung tapos na. At nagawa na natin ang ating unang material or unang part ng ating module. Okay, so okay, now, magdagdag pa tayo. Okay, so ngayon naman, dahil nakapag-assign na tayo ng material sa kanila, ay magtanong naman tayo or gumawa tayo ng discussion board tungkol sa materials na yon. Okay, so para gawin yan, okay, i-click lamang ang option na question. Okay, so kung gusto mo gawa ng mga talakayan, mga discussion boards, okay, the question option is a good option. Okay, okay, so ilagay lang natin ang question na gusto nating tanong. For example, ano ang nasyon? Okay, at maaari ka magbigay ng instruction, okay? Dito sa right side ay maaari mong piliin kung ito ba ay short answer or multiple choice question. Okay, so para sa tanong na to, piliin natin ang short answer, okay? Tulad kanina, maaari ka mag-add ng files, okay? Mag-create ng files, okay, para sa tanong na to, but dahil naibigay naman natin ng materials para sa tanong na to, hindi na tayo mag-add ng materials, okay? Maari mo ding, again, specify sa classes kung saang klase mo ito ipapadala, sa lahat ng estudyante o sa specific students. Okay? Ang kakaiba sa question option na classwork ay maari ka mag-assign ng points, okay, para sa classwork na ito. Sa halimbawa, bigyan natin ito ng 10 points. Okay? Or, kung ito ay isang formative assessment, maaari mo rin namang piliin na ito ay ungraded. Ibig sabihin, hindi mag-generate ng grade si Google para sa classwork na ito. Okay? Maaari din natin piliin ang maglagay ng due date. So, for halimbawa, okay, piliin natin, i-assign natin ang due date na to. Okay? Okay, at i-assign natin to on June 16. Okay, so bawat araw meron tayong naka-assign na classwork. Okay, at ibigyan natin to ng deadline na 5 p.m. I suggest na ang mga deadlines nyo ay hindi masyadong late. Okay, so huwag kayong magpapasubmit for example ng 12 midnight. Medyo mahirap yun para sa ating mga estudyante. Ako personally, I prefer na around 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. para to respect na rin yung time ng mga students natin. Okay? You can choose whether they can reply to each other, okay, or they can edit the question or the answer that they have given. Okay? At pagkatapos niyan, again, huwag natin kalimutan, ilalagay natin yan sa ating topic, Module 1. Okay? At kung tapos ka na, maaari mo yan itanong agad. Ngunit dahil tayo nagde-develop ng ating module, atin niyang i-schedule. Okay, so i-click ang schedule at schedule natin yan on June 16. Okay, same time, 8 a.m. Okay, so also that's one way of building routines. Okay, na laging by 8 a.m. lumalabas ang iyong mga posts sa iyong Google Classroom. Okay, so schedule natin yan. Okay. Okay, so ngayon meron ng dalawang laman ang ating module. Okay, so naman ay gumawa tayo na magdagdag pa tayo ng nilalaman ng ating module 1. Okay? At ngayon, gumawa naman tayo ng assignment. Okay? So perfect ang assignment option para sa mga worksheets, activities like that na pwede mo ipagawa sa iyong mga estudyante. Okay? So for example, ito ay gawain. Okay? Maaari ka rin maglagay ulit ng instruction para dyan. Okay? At para dito ay mag-upload tayo ng file mula sa aking Google Drive. Okay? So, okay. I-attach lamang natin yan. So, maganda dito is that kapag nag-attach ka ng mga worksheets ay naka-Google document ang iyong worksheets dahil kapag naka-Google document yan ay magkakaroon ka ng option na maaari mong piliin para sa iyong mga estudyante. Okay? So, ito ay students can view the file. So, hindi nila pwedeng i-edit ang iyong file. Okay? The students can edit the file. Okay? So, all the students editing the same file. Okay? So, but if you're asking for individual submissions, that's not a good thing because they will be editing the same document. Okay? All 30 or 40 of them. Um, ang maganda sa Google document kapag ito ang ginamit mong format ng iyong worksheet ay maaari itong make a copy, maaari kang mag-assign ng make a copy for each student. So, i-click lamang yan. Okay? So, ang gagawin yan is that it will generate individual copies for each student. Okay? So, hindi nila pwedeng galawin ang iyong master copy at kapag nag-submit sila ay individual din ang masasubmit nilang papers at hindi lamang isang papel. Okay? So, I really suggest kapag mag-worksheets kayo, i-convert niyo yan sa Google document. Okay? Ngayon, same settings. Okay? So, maaari mong piliin ulit kung para sa ang klase ito. All students ba or specific students? Maaari kang mag-assign ng points para dito. At of course, due date. Okay, so for example, mag-assign tayo ng due date for that. Okay? On June 17. Okay. At of course, setting routines, lagi nating ipasubmit yan by 5 p.m. But again, it's up to you. Okay? Ang importante lang siguro ay makapag-set kayo ng routines. Okay? At huwag natin kalimutan, ilagay natin yan sa ating module number 1. Okay? Ngayon, isa bagong option or bagong button sa assignment option ay ang rubric. Okay, so maaari kang gumawa ng rubric para sa iyong assignment. Okay? So kapag clinic mo yan, okay, meron kang tatlong option, okay, na pwedeng gawin. Okay? Maaari kang mag-create a rubric, okay, or use a rubric that you have created already within the Google Classroom. Or you can also import from sheets. Okay, so if you have existing rubrics from before, from last year, you simply have to convert them and then put them in your Google Sheets, and you can actually already import them into Google Classroom and use it as your rubrics. Okay, so there's really not much work there. Okay, if your rubrics are already there or set from last year. Okay, but of course, let's do and create a rubric. Okay, instead. Okay, just to show you how it looks like. Okay. So when you create a rubric, okay, you'll have to put a criterion. Okay, so for example, our first criterion is nilalaman. Okay, and describe that criterion. Okay, what does it mean when you're assessing that particular criterion? Okay, and then you can assign levels of assessment to each criterion. So for example, in this criterion, I'll be assigning 5, okay, for all the excellent content. Okay. But you can add levels to that criterion by clicking this, okay? And it's going to add another field. Okay, so for example, 4 for very good, okay? And you can continue adding levels, okay, depending on the levels of the criterion you're assessing. Okay, so it's up to you, basically, okay? Once you're done with that, you can add another criterion, okay, here below at the lower left corner, okay? So when you click on that, okay, um, it's going to open to a new field, okay, wherein you can put your new criterion. Okay, so for example, let's put kaayusan, okay? Like earlier, you can also put description, okay, and of course, your criterion level. Okay, so for example, 5 again for excellent organization. Okay, I suggest that you do create same levels for all your criterions. Okay, para it's so easier um, to see. Okay, and also easier to understand for your students. Okay, and you can keep on adding your levels. Okay, if you want. Okay, you can keep on adding criterion because usually our rubrics have around 3 to 4 criterions. Okay, once you're done, okay, you can go to the lower upper right corner, okay, and click on save, okay, and that will save your rubric, okay. So you can see here your rubric is already attached into your assignment, okay. Now, the last thing to do is to decide if it's going to be assigned already, scheduled, or saved as a draft, okay. But of course, in this simulation of module making, we're scheduling that one. Okay, so we'd like to schedule that on June 17, posted around 8 a.m. Okay, so they will see that and they will have to submit the work at around 5 p.m. Okay, so let's click on schedule. And now we have three items under our module one. Okay, and you see what we're doing every day. We're assigning something to our students to do as if they're in the classroom. Okay. That's also one way of building up momentum, building up progression within that module. Okay. Now our last one, let's create a quiz assignment. Okay, so when you do a quiz, okay, so similar fields, okay, you have your title, instructions, okay. When you do a quiz assignment, it will automatically generate a blank quiz. Okay, so from Google Forms, I will not discuss that, how to do that, because my co-presenter will be discussing Google Forms today. Okay, so let's just delete that one. Okay, I already preloaded and made a quiz from my drive. Okay, so let's just import that. Okay. So that's a good thing about Google Classroom. If you create a quiz inside Google Forms, okay, that form is stored in Google Drive, and therefore you can reuse it anytime um, as long as it's there. Okay, so our quiz has been loaded. Okay, you can, as again, similar fields. Okay, you can specify those things. Okay, you can assign a due date. Let's assign this on Thursday. Okay, so we're almost done with the week. Okay, you can assign that on at 5 p.m. as well. Okay. Okay, you can also create a rubric if you want, but for this one, it's an objective type, so we're not going to assign a rubric. Okay, but if you are assigning, for example, an essay, would be good if you assign a rubric. Okay. And of course, let's not forget, let's put that under our module number one. Okay, so when you're set, okay, just click on, okay, again, you can assign it already. You can schedule or save a draft, but for this, again, as I keep on saying, we're developing a module, okay? So let's assign it on June 18, 8 a.m. Okay, so the quiz will be viewed by the students at that time. Okay, so now we have four things, okay? If you want to rearrange your activities within the module, you can simply drag and drop that. Okay, so for example, let's carry this one on top, followed by this activity. So it's arranged by schedule. Okay. Now you can also see your modules at the left side panel. Okay, so what does it look like if you create another module, for example? Okay, so if we create another topic, for example, module 2, that's entitled that Stado. For week 2. Okay, so week 2 will be looking at state. Okay, so let's add that. Okay, and it's going to be created on top of your module 1. If you want to rearrange that, you can simply click on this drop down menu. Okay, it's going to give you an option to move it up. Okay, so when you click that, you can see that your module 1 has been moved up. Okay, so iaakyat niya yung module 1 mo. So for better organization. Okay, we're not going to explore it now, but you can actually explore it on your by your own. Okay, you also have a Google Calendar link into your Google Classroom. So whenever you generate a Google Class, Google will generate a specific calendar for that class. Okay, so whatever you're posting there, the deadlines, activities, reminders, and tasks are all posted in that calendar, and it's integrated into your personal calendar, so you can actually view it there. Okay, your students will also have view to this, so it will be easier to for them to manage their tasks and activities. Okay, so napakagandang feature ng Google Classroom. Okay, you will also have a class drive folder kung saan lahat ng files nyo are stored. Okay, so lahat ng attachments natin na ginawa kanina are all stored in a particular class drive folder for specific to your class. Okay, your students will have access to this, but there's a unique ownership to the class folder. Okay, the students can edit their folders on their end, but it won't affect your folders. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, so for example, if they're doing their works, okay, it's automatically being saved into their own class drive folder. Okay, individual class drive folders. Okay. So we now have activities from Monday to Thursday. I did not put something on Friday because I recommend that every end of the module, okay, you have a video conferencing using Google Meet or other video conferencing tool, just to summarize or synthesize the module, give feedbacks, okay, give additional checkup quizzes maybe, just to assess if they got the lesson correctly. Okay, so that's how you develop a module inside Google Classroom. Okay, so now let's go down to the last two features of Google Classroom. And to do that, okay, to explore people and grades, I'd like to bring you to another class because it would need some people who have joined the class already. Okay, so let's view one of my demo classes as well. Okay, if you click on people, it will show you the list of teachers. Okay, that manages the class. Okay, so for example, this one, I'm the owner and I have invited another teacher to manage my class. Okay, don't forget that your invited collaborators will have access to modifications to your class. The only thing they can't do is to erase or archive your class. Okay, and you can see here that your students are listed here. Okay, you can toggle how they're arranged. Okay, sort by last name or sort by first name. It's up to you. Okay, you can click a particular student. Okay, for example, that I choose this student, and there are several actions you can do. Okay, so you can email them, you can remove, and you can mute a student. Okay, so when you click mute, okay, these are the things that's going to happen. They can still submit their work, okay, but they cannot. Other students won't be able to see their work, okay? Can't reply to classmates' work, and they can't comment to post. So, for example, there are students that are misbehaving in class. You might want to mute them, okay? But don't worry, they can still submit their works, okay? Okay, you can choose multiple students, okay? So you could email them all together, remove them at the same time, or mute them at the same time. Okay. Normally, if you're using a G Suite account, okay, in setting up your Google Classroom, you will have an extra button somewhere right here, which in wherein you can actually invite parents. Okay, so that's one of the advantages of using a G Suite account is that you can actually invite parents into your Google Classroom so that they can also monitor and check up on their kids, especially right now that we are doing online distance learning. Okay. Okay, last one would be your grades. Okay, so when you click on that, okay, it's actually like in a sheet form, in a table form, okay, wherein it contains all your assessments, okay, and all the submissions and all the grades of your students, okay. Notice that if it's marked as red, okay, and missing, it means the student did not submit or have not yet submitted their work, okay. It will be marked gray if it's late submission, and it will be marked green if the student turned in their assessment. Okay, please do not forget that because the students usually forget to click turn in whenever they're submitting their requirements. Okay. Now, if you want to download your grades, you can simply go on and click one of your assessment titles like this. Okay. It's going to bring you, okay, to the details of your assessment or to your assignment. Okay. And sa upper right corner, meron kang setting button right here. Okay. When you click that, okay, you can, there are options on how to export or import your export your grades. Okay, so you can copy all grades to Google Sheets. You can download all grades as CSV. That's a readable file by Excel and Google Sheets. Okay, download these grades as CSV. Okay, so you can specify all grades, so all of the grades in all assessments, or you can just simply download the grades for this particular assessment. Okay. And when you do that, Google Classroom will generate for you a Google Sheet file which you can access with all the names and all the grades and assessments of your students. Okay. Okay. Now, so that would be the features of Google Classroom. So again, the stream, the classwork, the people, and the grades. Okay. So if you posted your whatever you posted, it will appear in the stream. But of course, right now, since we've scheduled most of our posts, it will not yet appear in our stream. Okay. Now, some maybe tips on using Google Classroom so that it becomes more effective for you, okay? And you can maximize the power of Google Classroom. One, you might want to explore some extensions available at the Chrome Web Store. Okay, so you can simply go to Chrome Web Store and type in Google Classroom extensions. Okay, so you can see all the possible extensions you can have for Google Classroom. Okay. Second is that to set routines. Very important is for you to set routines in your class. Okay. This would lessen misbehavior and problems that you would encounter later into the year. Okay. Third is that make sure that you use Google Classroom as frequently as possible. Okay, comment to their questions, answer their questions, okay, react to their questions or their answers, so that it also invites them to be more present in Google Classroom. So they will have that habit of checking notifications or announcements. Okay. The last one maybe is that when you prepare your module, please do take time in preparing your modules. We cannot implement modules that's being made like a day before its implementation. It would be very risky and hard. Okay, we won't be able to see the integrity of the modules we're creating. Okay, so I suggest that if you want to create modules, create them like 1 week or 2 weeks before its implementation. Okay, so I think that would be all. If you have other questions or suggestions, we'll be answering that via our question and answer that will follow this presentation. And if you want more or to learn more about Google for Education tools, okay, please do subscribe, subscribe to our YouTube channel, next series, okay, so that you'll be notified of our upcoming webinars about online distance learning. Okay. Again, maraming salamat for being with us or for being with me. And I hope na nakatulong ako sa paggamit.
Hello again, fellow educators and participants. Once again, I'm Mr. David Reyes. I'm one of the facilitators of this webinar series presented to you by Next Series. Thank you, Mr. Addun, as well, for that very informative talk about Google Classroom. We hope that our participants here, we have a number of it. We hope that you gave us an enlightenment regarding the utility of our Google Classroom. So, as we are currently watching it live, some of the questions here we've taken note of it. Um, Let me just open my pool here and see some of the questions that we have here. So from Jasper, Mr. Addun, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, from Jasper. Sir, in case I want to assign points to my discussion question, how will Google Classroom give points to students' answer? Do I have to give rubrics or should I just grade each response manually? Go ahead, Sir
Okay.
Franco.
Yes, for discussion questions, if you post a question like that, if it's a subjective question, open-ended, you'll have to manually grade them. Okay, what the rubric is for is to guide you for your parameters, not necessarily that Google will check it. Okay, so there's not yet a mechanism for that, for an application to just check an open-ended answer for some assessments. Okay, so the points is also there to determine how many points you're allotting for that particular question. Okay, so when you view the questions of the answers of your students, you'll have to manually grade each one of them and assign a point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Franco. Let's go over some of the questions here. From John Ray de la Minsare. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly. So are we required for an output? I'm just using my cell phone now, just viewing and listening to the presentation. Probably this is just one of the comments from if they need to submit something.
Yes.
Don't worry, John Ray, you don't have to submit anything. You just have to just like watch and then watch a live demonstration from by Mr. Addun. Let's go over some of the questions here. Here from Friends Dorado. For the scheduled posts, do you need to connect to the internet during the scheduled date for the post to be uploaded, or will it be uploaded without internet connection?
Okay. The good thing is that once you've scheduled your post, regardless if you have internet connection or you do not have an internet connection, that post will be pushed to your students into their Google Classroom, and they will be notified via their emails. Okay, so safe. Okay, so no internet connection for that scheduled post to be posted.
All right, thank you again once more. Let's try to look for at least 2 to 3 questions here. I think this was discussed already, about the maximum number of students per Google Classroom. Would you want to add something to it, Mr. Addun?
For the limit of students, there's a difference between a personal account to G Suite account. If you're using a particular domain under a G Suite account, you'll have a 1,000 limit per class. Okay, for personal accounts, you'll have 250 per class, that including teachers and students.
Thank you. And this second to the last question here. Can we be able to give students, or schedule rather, to multiple classes at once? From Reginald Marcelo.
Come again, sir?
Um, can we be able to give schedules to multiple
Oh.
classes at once?
For scheduled posts, unfortunately, you cannot give it to multiple classes, but there's a way to go around that. If you want to send the same scheduled post to multiple classes, you can use the reuse post option. So you can simply go to classwork or to your stream and click on the reuse post and look for that post and post it to the class you'd like to receive that post as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll go for the last question here. Hi po, from Ellie Gao. I don't know if I pronounce this correctly. We have, for open-ended questions, we have to check it manually. How about if it is an objective type of test? Do we also check it manually? That's a
No.
question, sir.
Yes. If it's a objective type of question and you do it in your Google Forms, okay, you can actually already state the answers for the questions. So the Google Forms will actually check it for you. More details about Google Classroom with our next presenter. So you don't need to check manually for objective questions.
All right. Thank you very much. I think that's enough for our questions, because we have another set of presenter, which will actually be discussing about more of the tools that we can also use to utilize on how to manage students' performance and also organize some of the data from our students. And we have here our next presenter. She is currently an active junior high school computer teacher and also a Google certified educator and also an Apple teacher. She will be discussing about how to manage your students' performance and also organize the data. That is the use of Google Forms and Google Sheets. So without further ado, let me introduce to you our next presenter, Miss Emie Himor.
Welcome everyone to the second part of today's webinar. I am Emie Himor and one of the computer teachers and EdTech coaches in Xavier School. So before we begin, I would like to invite you to like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for you to be notified for our next free webinars. So for the next hour, our focus will be on creating assessment and organizing data using Google Tools. Okay, hopefully you will be able to create your own assessment using Google Tools. And the applications that we will use are Google Forms and Sheets. Okay, so before we proceed to the demonstration, what are the limitations of and benefits of these applications? So, as we switch to the online distance learning, aside from planning how we present our lessons, it is also important to plan out how we will assess the learning of our students. And Forms is one of the available options that we can have. It is a free and can be accessed by anyone. Okay, and actually, it has a lot to offer. And first off, is that it can provide the at the moment feedback for both teachers and students. So you can assign grades and you have an option to after submitting the form. And you can also let your students see the correct and wrong answers. And with that, the students can question immediately their understanding and they can ask for your help. Also, it can be used in creating interactive lessons. In this app, you can incorporate images, videos, link the form to other websites, or you can also include short stories and ask your students to answer questions based from those resources. And you can also use it anytime in your lesson if you want to start with a check-in survey. You can use it for formative assessments or exit pass and even summative assessment. Also, it is free and user-friendly. The interface of the website is very user-friendly. It is very easy to use. Okay, it's very neat, simple, and easy to use. And you can also, you can also download some add-ons depending on your needs. And these add-ons are applications outside Google Forms or from other websites that can be included in the form to make it more functional. Now, I know that there's a lot of advantages in using the forms, but we also have to take note its limitations. So, the first one that I note is that it does not allow mathematical symbols aside from the most basic equations. So, for example, you're creating an assessment for math, physics, and chemistry that needs to show an equation or for them to analyze an equation, you can insert that as an image. And also, there's no text formatting commands like italic, bold, or underline. So, if you want to highlight some words, just like in mathematical equations, you can just highlight it or insert it as an image. Okay, or you can also link it to other document. Now, for Google Sheets, mostly we use it as our grading sheets, right? So for personally, I use it since I started teaching. And the reason why I relied on this application is because I can access it anywhere, I mean, in any device, in both offline and online modes. And also, we can analyze data just like the other spreadsheets. You can analyze data using graphs. And also, it is integrated with Google Forms, and later I'll show you how to integrate them. And it has a collaboration features. You can share it to your colleagues to comment or edit or even view your form. I mean your sheets. And also you can insert or download add-ons. There's a lot of useful add-ons in Google Sheets. But you have to take note that some add-ons are not available in Gmail accounts. Some of them are exclusive only for G Suite. And lastly, the best one is it has a revision history. Okay, so since it is saved automatically in the Google Drive, you can easily go to some parts of your of your sheets that you need to look back, or may mga pagkakataon na mali pala yung nagawa nyo for the entire sheet tapos kailangan yung bumalik on some parts. That's also possible. Okay, there. And I also listed down two limitations of Google Sheets. And the first one is that it can slow down when working with huge data. So kung masyado ng marami yung data na nakalagay sa inyong spreadsheet, pwedeng hindi na siya mag-load or mahirapan na siyang i-analyze yung data na yon. And there are some functions similar to other spreadsheets that may not be available. Baka dun lang sa app like Microsoft Excel, dun lang meron yung function na yun. Now, I don't think this will be a problem for us teachers because we are mostly limited in using it as our grading sheet. So parang hindi na natin siya kailangan problemahin most of the time. Okay? There.
First, I will try to make it as detailed as possible in this demonstration in creating Google Forms, and then later on, I will give you some tips on how to organize your data in your Google Sheets. Okay, so there are actually two ways of getting into Google Forms. The first one is in your Google Drive, you click New, More, than Google Forms. Then you will have two options. You have the blank form and from a template. And then you can also go to forms.google.com, and in the home page you will see the template gallery and your recent forms. Now, if you're using a G Suite account, you can also find your Google Forms in the Google Apps list here, but since I am using my Gmail account, that's not possible. Okay, there. So let us create a blank form. So as I mentioned earlier, yung interface ng Google Form is very simple and very neat. So on top left, you will see the title of the form. On top right, you will see the menus, and here at the center is where you can see or where you can edit your or when you create your assessment. So maybe it's important for us to know first what are these menus for. Okay, so the first one is the add-ons. So add-ons will usually appear when you downloaded an add-on. So right now in my form, I only have two add-ons, which are the form limiter and timify.me. So form limiter will help you to limit the responses that you will accept from your students, and the timify.me is used to input or embed a timer in your form. So if you want to set a time for a specific form, that will be possible with timify.me. So I will try to explore only one, which is the form limiter. There, then you have to set the limit. So in form limiter, there are three ways of limiting the accepting of responses. You can have the date and time, number of form responses, and spreadsheet value. So since wala pa tayong spreadsheet for this form, you can only use the first two options. So let's try to limit the date and time. So for the date and time, you can set the due date and time. When will you stop accepting responses? So for example, I will stop accepting responses on June 15 and 3 p.m. Okay, let's set it. Now beyond, excuse me, now beyond 3 p.m., your form will no longer accept responses. Okay, there, save and enable. Now the second option here, or the second menu, is the customized theme. So for the customized theme, you can add a header image if you want to personalize your assessment, pwede kayong gumawa ng sarili nyong header. Like for example, a logo of your school and your subject, that's also possible. Or if you want to give a highlight or idea na kung ano ba yung topic nila for this form, that's also possible with the header image. And then you can select your theme color. Usually the theme color will change depending on the color or the dominant color of your header image. Okay, then you can also change the background color based on the theme color. So here we have the purple. Tapos you will see the different shades of purple. Then you can also change the font style, but we only have 4 options. So we have basic, decorative, formal, and playful. So the third menu here is the preview. So sa preview, it is important na kayo muna yung unang makakakita how your form looks like because we don't want your students to notice some errors in your form. So, at least pag kayo ang nakakita, ma-edit nyo agad at malalaman nyo kung ano ba yung tamang arrangement or kung may kailangan pa kayong baguhin. And then, the next one is the settings. So for the settings, we have 3 tabs, the general, presentation, and quizzes. So for the general, we have the collect email addresses. We also have the limit to 1 response. So limit to 1 response, we can change or we can limit 1 response to 1 response per email. So your students will not have a chance to submit a lot of responses. Okay. And we also have the respondents can edit and see summary charts after. But this one are usually used for surveys. Okay. So let's go to the presentation. Now we have the show progress bar. For this part, since we can divide your form into different parts. So for example, part 1 is all about or if part 1 is for multiple choices and the second part will be for essays. With the use of progress bar, the students will see or will know how long should it take before they finish the test or how many sections do they need to finish before do they need to do before finishing the test. And kasi minsan, I think it's very important also to use the progress bar kasi minsan yung students natin has a tendency to get bored or parang gusto na lang nilang matapos yung exam when they see that there's a lot of questions in the forms. So with the progress bar, at least we will have an element of surprise. Then we also have the shuffle question order. Okay, if you want to rearrange the question order for every student. Now you can also put confirmation responses or message at the end of the submission. What will appear on your form? You can say na proceed to module number 2. Okay, there. So the next one is the quizzes. So for the quizzes, when you're making an assessment, you have to enable the make this a quiz. This is the only one that will let you assign point values to your questions, and it will also allow the auto grading. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you have an option to immediately send or release the grade of the students once they submit it. And you also have the option to do it later after you manually review it. So for our case, I usually use the later option since we're following a letter grading system. So I have to convert first the number grades to the letter grades. And also, you have the missed questions, correct answers, and point values. But usually for this part, I leave it unchecked kasi I use the same set of questions or I use the same set of questions to the other sections. So I don't want to leak the items to other students. Okay, so let's click save. Then we also have here the send button. For the send button, there are actually three ways of sending our form to our students. So first one is via email. You can just type the email here. So for example, I send it to Mr. Dominic Sales. Then I can change the title of the form depending on the changing the subject depending on the title of the form, and you can add a message. You can add a message. You can also add collaborators here. Then you can also send it via link. For example, you want to paste it in your Google Classroom, you just copy this link and paste it there. And lastly, if you're using a different learning management system, you can actually embed it there. Okay, so for example, in Schoology, there is an option where you can embed the form in their website. Okay, there. Okay, then the last one here is the more menus. So the usual ones, we have undo, make a copy, move to trash, get pre-filled link, print, and collaborators if you want to share it with your other colleagues. Then script editor, add-ons, and preferences. Now, let's start by naming it as quiz or assessment number 1. Okay, so if you change the name on your the title of your form, it will also appear here on the form itself. Okay, so this is the first section of your form. Now on this area, you will see the floating menu. So we have the add question, tapos meron din tayong import questions. On this one, you can select or you can reuse the questions from other forms. So for example, I want to use questions from this part or from this form. Select it, and then the questions will appear here on the right side, and you just choose which question you'll import. Okay, there. Then we also have the add title and description. So for example, gusto niyo magbasa or you want your students to read first a short article before answering a question. That's possible with this one. Okay. Then we also have an add image here. So as I mentioned earlier, if you want to, for example, in mathematics, if you want to insert an image of your equations, that's possible. And you can also look for some images that you have in your photos folder, in your Google Drive, or you can also have it or search images in Google. Then we also have the add video here. For add video, you can search videos in YouTube or paste the URL of the video. So please take note that it can only access YouTube videos. So kung sa iba pang, kung yung video nyo will be coming from a different drive or if you want to upload it, I don't think that will be possible. So yun, you can only use or maximize the use of YouTube. Then the last one is the add section. So sabi ko nga kanina, if you want to organize your forms, it's possible with the add section. So your form will be divided into different sections. Okay, there. So for now, so yeah, let's leave it there. Now let's go to the different types or varieties of questions. So the default one that you will get is the multiple choice. So for multiple choice, you can add options and you can even use image as your option. Okay? And kung sa tingin nyo yung sagot or if you want to make it a little challenging for your students, kung gusto nyo na wala doon sa options yung sagot and you want them to type it you can click the add other, then your students will be able to type the questions here in this part. Okay, then we have the answer key here at the bottom left. In different questions like multiple choice, check boxes, grid, drop down menu or drop down question type, you can select the type or the correct answers for these questions. Okay, you just click and select the correct answers. Tapos, you can also assign points for that question. So for example, 2 points. And you can also write a feedback na mag-a-appear only when they submitted it or when you let them see the correct answers and wrong answers. Okay, so let's click done. Now you have here the duplicate. You can also delete them, and we have an option to require it. So most of the time I enable the required button because I want the students to have a chance to answer all of the questions kahit na medyo confusing or medyo nahihirapan sila dun sa item na yun. At least they were able to answer it kesa na ma-skip lang nila yung item na yun. Then here on the More menu, we will have different options also, like description. You can add the description in the question, or go to section based on answer and shuffle option order. Okay. Now let's go to the other varieties like short answer. So similar with the multiple choice, you can add image here as part of your question. And let's try to look at the answer key. Now for the short answer question, you can add the correct answer. So for example, ang correct answer for this question is copyright. And minsan, magkakaiba yung way ng pagta-type ng mga students natin. Pwedeng lahat capital letters or lahat small letters. So you can use that as option for the correct answer. Okay? So let's click done. So here you will see the correct answer. So kahit alin dyan sa tatlo, basta yan yung tinype ng student natin, ay tama. Okay? There. Then we also have here a response validation. So for the response validation, it will let you know, or it will let you tell the students what type of answer you are asking for. So for example, number. Okay? Kung number siya, ano bang klaseng number yung gusto niyo malaman? Or gusto ninyo na isulat nila? Okay? If it is a text, ano ba yung mga dapat na nakalagay sa text na yan? What should it contain? Doesn't contain? Or email address ba or URL? Okay, so you can explore the different use of these response validation. Now, same as short answer, you have the paragraph. For paragraph, you cannot have an answer key, but you can you can assign points here. Okay. Then, as I mentioned earlier, we have the check boxes and drop down option. Same as the multiple choice, you can select the correct answer and assign points. And you can also shuffle option order. There. Now, one good thing about this form is you can let your students upload a file. So in uploading a file, it will require you to, this one will appear to let the students or respondents upload files to your Google Drive. You just click continue. Now, one good thing about this is that you can specify what file types your students can upload and the number of files that you want them to upload. So for example, you allow only specific files like PDF or document or spreadsheet, okay? And you can also identify how many types of files or how many files they can upload in your Google Drive. So for example, 5. Okay, and the maximum file size. So this maximum file size is the maximum file size per item or per file. Okay, so for example, they can upload 10 MB per file. Okay, There. Okay. Then we also have here the linear scale, multiple choice grid, checkbox grid. These are usually used for surveys, but you can also use them um, for your assessments. But this one, it has a similar um, options with the checkboxes and multiple choices like limit one response or shuffle order. So there. Then the last two that we have here is the date and time. For example, history, you can use this as an option for your questions. Okay, there. So that's how we create, or those are the different types of questions or variety of questions that we can use for your assessment. Now, what if you already have an assessment and response? I mean, you already have responses from your students. So let's open this one. See. Now, you will see the number of responses here in the responses tab. And when you click that, you will see three tabs: the summary, the question, and individual. So for the summary, the first thing you'll see is the insights or the preview about the distribution of scores. So you will see the average scores, the median, and the range of the scores. And you can also have a graph of the scores of the students. Okay, then you will also see the missed questions, frequently missed questions. Then at the on the question itself, you will see how many students were able to answer your options, that specific option. So for example, in this one question, I have three options. So I also see three rows here or three graphs. This one is good for those who are doing the item analysis. So makikita nyo agad kung ilan sa mga students ninyo yung nakasagot sa bawat item na yun. Okay? Their answer, also see their response. Okay? That's for the summary. Now for the question tab, you will see the responses per question. So for example, let's go here. Okay. So I will be able to see how many of them were able to respond for those questions. Okay. Yeah. Or what are the responses per each question. Then the next one is the individual. For this one, this is helpful for those who wants to manually check your form. So that's what I usually do. I check it manually. So titignan ko muna kung alin ba yung mga tamang sagot. For example, sa mga short answer or sentences, yon, kailangan nating i-check siya manually. So kapag tingin natin ay tama na siya, we can set our grade here, there, and for example, 0 or 1. So if you are done checking it, you just click the save button here, and then you will see the total points here on top left of the form. So after you manually check it, that's the time you can release the score to your students. Now, may mga schools din na nagre-require na gusto nila hard copy yung assessments ng students, or gusto nila makita yung hard copy ng responses of the students. So you can actually print the responses here. Okay? You can select which responses you need to print and then print them. Okay? Now, we also have an option to email yourself when there is or email or have a notification in your email when there is a new responses. You can select the response destination. You can unlink the form. Once you created a form, you can once you created a form and open it with a Google Sheet, it is already linked. Okay. Then you can also have download responses. When you download it, it will be downloaded into a Microsoft Excel format. Then print all responses and delete all responses. Now, if you want to open it in Google Sheets, we have the icon here of Google Sheets, and you will be asked with two options. Yung una is to create a new sheet, and the second one is to open it with a recent sheet that you have. So, since this one is not a new form, I can just open it and see. It will lead me to the sheets where I placed them. Okay. So here in this Google Sheet, okay, you will see the questions in rows and the answers in columns. So maganda rin to para dun sa mga teachers na gusto na mag-manually count or do the item analysis. For example, gusto nating bilangin ilan ba sa mga students natin ang sumagot ng medium shot. So I can do that with the use of COUNTIF function. So I will just type COUNTIF, open parentheses, then highlight the range that you want to count, comma, then let's type medium shot. Then press enter. So in this column, 5 of them answered medium shot. Okay, so that's how we count or do item analysis for the Google Sheets. Now, from Google Sheets, we can also open our form, like edit it, send, go to live form, embed form in a web page, show summary of responses, and unlink the form. And also, we can create a new form. From this, when we go to insert and there, form. Okay. Now, minsan kasi, in my personal experience, as I mentioned earlier, I use the same set of questions for 10 sections, for example. So, instead of having 10 sheets for 10 forms, what I will do is to just open it here. So, I will select the option na use the recent forms para maging organize yung ating Google Sheet. So, hindi pakalat-kalat yung forms natin or sheets natin in our Google Drive. Okay, so that's it for the forms and Google Sheets. Now, the linking of form and Google Sheets rather. Now, I will give you some tips in making your Google Forms organized or your reading sheet in Google Form organized. Okay, let me just move this here. Okay, anyway, usually the first thing that we do when we are creating our grading sheet is to copy the name of the students from the class list into our grading sheet. Okay? Now, minsan kasi may different ways ng pagsusulat ng mga taga-registrar sa class list natin. Pwedeng nakasulat sila sa magkahiwalay na column, yung last name and yung first name, or pwede rin magkasama na sila. Tapos kayo, if you also have an option, kung gusto ninyo na magkahiwalay yung last name and the first name of the students, and kung gusto nyo na magkasama naman sila. Okay? So here, if you want to, for example, you want to separate the last name and first name. Okay. So what you'll do is to highlight the text or highlight the names, then click data rather, and go to split text columns or split text to columns. Now, the split text to columns will your um, separate the text depending on the separator that you want. So here, ang nakalagay ay detect automatically. Na-detect na ni Google Forms na ang magiging separator natin is the comma kasi lahat ng nasa list ay merong comma. Okay? So there, comma, or if you want to use semicolon, since wala siyang semicolon, hindi natin siya masiseparate. If you want to use a space, kung puro space lang, then it will separate everyone or everything, every name. Okay? But let's use the comma. There. Now, what if ang gusto nyo naman ay magkakasama sila pero nung kinopy and paste nyo siya from the class list is magkakahiwalay sila, nakaseparate sila into columns of last name and first name. So the first one that we have that we can use is concatenate. So you type concatenate, then select the cell that you want to combine. Okay? Now, if you do this one, yung parehong, if you only write the cell na gusto nyong pagsamahin, there will be no space in between. So what you will do is, you will write a space for it. So after the first cell, comma, you can write a space and close pa the parentheses, comma, then the second cell. So yan, meron na tayong space. Nakita niyo, meron na tayong space dyan. Now, what if I want to put a comma? Then you just include comma here in the quotation marks. There. Then press enter. Then you don't need to do that for each item. You can just autofill it. Okay? There. So that's for the name. Now, the second one is, or the third one is, for example, may mga time na nagkakamali ng pagta-type sa class list, merong iba na nasusobrahan ng spaces, okay? We can fix that without getting into each of the items. So all you need to do is to do the trim command. So trim, $trim, select you select the cell that you want to trim and enter. So the trim function will actually remove the extra spaces in that cell. Okay, so let's just autofill it here and there. Maayos na siya. Okay, so that's the third one. Then the next one that we have, let's remove this first. The next one that we have here, the next tip that I'm going to show you is the VLOOKUP. So usually si VLOOKUP, ginagamit siya kung gusto nyong i-convert yung I usually use it to convert the number grades into letter grades. So here I created a separate VLOOKUP column. So kung 1 lang yung total of or average of the student, it will get a U. Okay? Pero the VLOOKUP will only ma-detect niya lang yung mga whole numbers. So for example, the score is 1.9. For example, 1.9. It will not be able to round it up. Okay? So, ang mangyayari lang is, it will only detect the 1, the whole number. So, kung 1.9 siya, ang lalabas pa rin sa VLOOKUP ninyo is U. So, kung sa tingin nyo na pwede naman siyang i-round up, for that part, pwede nyo naman siyang i-manually change it to S. Okay? So, how do we do VLOOKUP? So, you type equal sign VLOOKUP parentheses, then select the cell that you want to convert into letters. Then let's write here the comma, then go to VLOOKUP folder and select the entire range that you want to use. Okay, then comma again, then on the last part, you will write which column you will use to convert. So for example, here, I will use column 2 since it's in the column B. Okay, so this is column 1, this is column 2. So we'll select 2 here, and close parentheses, then enter. So if you notice, kahit 3.75 siya, G pa rin yung kanyang letter grade kasi nga, as I mentioned earlier, it can only use the whole numbers. Okay, so let's autofill it here. There. Oh, okay. Why? Bakit naging NA siya? Bakit siya naging NA? Okay. So, bakit siya naging NA? Kasi, whenever you move your, whenever you use this autofill or drag down fill, it also changes the source of your VLOOKUP. Okay? So, para hindi siya mabago, okay, if you notice here, it's A1 and B5. Tapos, nung nasa second one na, naging A2 and B6. So, kapag ginawa nyo nga yung drag down na fill, nagbabago siya. So, if you don't want to fill it, you can put $sign on the part that you want to freeze. Okay? So, here, ang gusto nating i-freeze ay yung row numbers. There. Gusto nating i-freeze yung row numbers. So, kapag din-drag down natin ulit siya for filling, okay, it will not change anymore. The row numbers will not change anymore in this. Okay? There. That's for VLOOKUP. Now, the next one that I want to show you, or the next tip that I want to show you, is the spark line. So for spark line, it is used to create a thumbnail of graphs or graph for your column or row. So what we'll do is just click equal sign, press equal sign, type spark line, and then highlight the row or column that you want to use or that you want to the range that you want to use for the graph. Okay, then click enter and you will see here a thumbnail of a line graph. So usually line graph lang ang lumalabas for spark line. Okay, there. So after that, okay, after that is the conditional formatting. So for example, may mga fail sa grading sheets ninyo. Tapos gusto ng boss nyo na baguhin ninyo yung color ng font or yung background ng cell na yon para madaling makita sino yung mga students na nag-fail. Okay? So to do that, we'll go to Format and Conditional Formatting. Okay. So for this one, we will do the apply to range first. So saan ba tayo maggagawa ng conditional formatting? So for example, we will do the conditional formatting for this column. Okay. For that column. Tapos, ang gusto natin, the next one that we have here is the format rule. So you will format that cell depending on the condition that you set, okay, that you will set. So for example, you can format it if it is greater than a number or lesser or equal to a specific number or less than that number. Okay, so since this one is only applied for text, let us try. Oh, let's try this one. Text contains. If the text contains G, it will change to yellow. Sorry. If it contains G, it will change to yellow. There. Or you can add another one. Select the range, add another range. Let's select the same range. Let's click OK. Oh, sorry. We're using the same range. Okay. Now, if tingin nyo na, or if ang gusto ninyo ay gamitin siya sa bawat part or letter grade ng per quarter, you can do that as well. That's the use of apply to range. Now, for example, if the text contains S, pwedeng wala siyang, pwedeng ang gawin natin is to change the text color to red. There. So, yan. That's how we do the conditional formatting. So, mas madali para sa inyo kung mas madali siya para sa atin kung gusto nating makita agad kung sino yung mga nag-fail, sino yung mga nakakuha ng mataas na scores, we can apply conditional formatting to that. Okay? There. So the next one is the sharing. The last one that I'm going to share with you is the sharing. So you can click share. Now in sharing, you will have different options to share it to others. So for example, let's share it to Mr. Dominic Sales. Now, you have an option to share it to him as a viewer, commenter, and editor. So, kung pareho kayo nagtatrabaho on the same sheet, you use the editor. Pero kung sa tingin nyo na andyan lang siya para mag-comment or mag-message, makita kung ano yung laman ng inyong sheet, you can just use viewer or commenter. Okay? There. Then here, you also have another options what they can do. So the editors can change permissions and share, or the viewers and commenters can see the option to download, print, and copy. So if you want to make your sheet secured, you can uncheck this para hindi makapag-copy or duplicate ng grading sheet ninyo yung mga taong pinag-sharean nyo ng sheet ninyo or ng grading sheet ninyo. Okay? There. Then, just click send. Okay. So, as I mentioned earlier, may mga add-ons din mayroon ding mga add-ons grading, si Google Sheets. Okay? So, you will see the add-ons here. Then, get add-ons. But in my case kasi, I'm using my Gmail account and wala pa akong add-ons here. Pero isa sa mga pinaka nagamit ko talaga sa G Suite account ko is the Roster Sync Teacher Edition. So yung gamit ni Roster Sync is to get details from your Google Classroom and send it to your Google Sheets. Okay? What are the details that you will see there? Yung last name and name ng students, and yung kanilang email, and even the email of their guardians. So it will be easy for you to send or collect those data using the Roster Sync Teacher Edition. So yan yung isa sa mga madalas kong magamit using my G Suite account. Okay? Then, kung gumagawa kayo ng kung gumagawa kayo ng surveys, tapos you want to send a feedback using the Google Forms, meron din tayong mga options. Okay, let's go to home first. Okay, so meron tayong iba't iba pang option para sa pag-send ng feedback na pwedeng related to our Google Forms. Okay, so meron din tayong form maker here, classroom share, calendar sheet. Okay, so there's a lot of available add-ons na magagamit niyo to make your Google Sheet more functional. Okay, so I guess that's it on how we're going to organize our grading sheet using the Google Sheet application. So if you have any questions, you can just type it on the comment box and I will try to answer your questions and demonstrate if I need to here. Okay? Thank you. And I'll give the floor now to our host, Mr. David Reyes.
Hello again, fellow educators. We would like to again welcome you and thank you for watching us here on our YouTube channel. And thank you, Ms. Himor, for that very informative session and discussion about how to manage your Google student performance and organize their data using Google tools such as Google Forms and Google Sheets. While you were doing the video demonstration, I noted some of the questions here. So if you're ready, Ms. Himor, I can read the questions to you.
Okay.
This question is from Mr. Rafael Silan. Good day. I have concerns about online quiz. Like how can we check the integrity of the answer of the students? Can Google Classroom monitor that? Can we set timer? Can we shuffle the questions? Thanks. So I think this is a question also for Mr. Addun, if you would also like to say something after Ms. Himor. Thank you, Ms. Himor.
Okay, thank you. What one thing that we can do is, for example, we already told our students the schedule of when they will take that test. Pwede ninyong i-post yung question or yung link of the form in the Google Classroom in a scheduled post. So for example, your time is 2 to 3 p.m. So you can send it or you can post it in Google Classroom 5 minutes before the test or before your time, so that they won't be able to see it in the before you release that form. And also, one thing that we can do is the add-on that we call as form limiter, and in that add-on you can actually set the time until when your students can access it. Okay, so with that, at least they will not have a chance to review the question beyond the time that you set. Okay, and also we have the option, as I demonstrated earlier, we have an option to shuffle the questions. And another thing is, there is also an add-on that we call as timify.me that you can download to embed it or place it in your Google form. That timify.me will give a timer or post a timer in your Google form. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's go over for at least two more questions here. I think some of the questions here for our participants on our end, I think some of the questions are actually like there are similar questions, so we like made it as one. So I'll just read it the last two questions for Miss Himor here. For Mia Socorro, I think this was answered a while ago, but let me just state it. Saan po ba or where do you usually use Google Forms? Is it only for quizzes?
Okay. Okay. Aside from quizzes, you can also use the form in creating interactive lessons. So, for example, you want to put the articles or the content in the form and let your students answer after reading that content or resources. And also, you can use it for surveys or for getting information from your students. There. Thank you.
Okay, we'd like to go for the last question here. Um, I think this was also discussed a while ago, but let me just reiterate this one. Let's ask again this question. Can you add a timer for each item?
Okay, so I haven't seen any add-on that will let you have a timer for each item, pero we can apply timer for the entire form. Ayun po. So that is the Timify that me, or you can also look for other add-ons na mas maganda from that Timify that me.
All right. Again,
Okay.
I think that sums up our questions for today. Thank you once again, Mr. Moore, for that informative discussion on the Google tools. And Mr. Franco Addun also, we would like to thank you very much for sharing us your expertise with regard to the utilization of Google Classroom. Before we actually end this one, we would like to invite our participants on your screen. Please don't forget before we send you the link for the certificate for survey. I would like you to please follow us or like our page on Facebook, follow us on Twitter account, and also please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So now we will be posting the link. Hope you can copy. We'll also be posting the link on our live chat box, so you can just simply
Ma?
click or copy the link so you can answer the survey. And while you were answering the survey, I'll be asking our two participants if they have to give us their last thoughts and words for our participants. Go ahead.
Okay. So again, thank you. Maraming salamat for being with us today and joining us in exploring Google tools for Google Education, Google tools for education to assist us in online distance learning. Okay. Siguro ano lang, very important reminder for all of us is that our goals as educators remain the same. We're only shifting format, platforms, but still the learning process will be more or less the same way we're doing it in a traditional setup. So don't be overwhelmed by the so many applications and things you can try. Don't get lost trying to search what you will use. Okay, so be more comfortable. Search for tools that you can actually use in your classroom. Okay, appropriate tools where you can be more familiar and comfortable. Okay, and siguro last one is that when we do online distance learning, while connection will be very important, know that you can always design your online distance learning with more varied resources and materials, okay, to accommodate more students, okay, to be more inclusive in a way. Okay, so with that, maraming salamat ulit.
In addition with the talk of Mr. Franco Addun, it is also important na I mean, this is the chance for us teachers or educators to learn more of the different tech tools that are available and free na pwede nating explore. So let's use our time that we have at home to explore those tools and look for the perfect tools that we can use and applicable for us teachers and also applicable for the situations or for the current standing of your students. Okay, so again with that, we would like to invite you to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe this YouTube channel for other for other free webinars. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Himor and Mr. Addun. Again, we are very much delighted to our participants for gracing this webinar. I hope that we also see you again for future webinars here. By the way, next week on June 20, same time from 4 to 6 p.m., we will be having another session that will be talking about digital citizenship, Google Slides, and 3D simulation, online 3D modeling using simulation. So again, we will be flashing the links and we will also be posting it on the live chat box as you can see on your YouTube channel. the link for you to answer the survey for your free digital certificate.